Hey guys, and welcome to the Market Report. So this is it's been a while since we've done one of these. Excited to get this one out because this is a really good time to be talking about the market. But at the same time, I have a special guest joining me, and I am super excited to have him today. I'm going to welcome Josh Hereau, Vice President Mortgage Lending at Guaranteed Rate Affinity, and he's joining me today because this is a pivotal moment, not only for the housing market, but really what's going on in our economy and in our world. And we're going to talk a little bit about this. This is actually the Federal Reserve meeting yesterday, and whenever the Fed gets together and talks, we know something comes out of it. Just the fact that they can hint at something, just the effect that has on the economy, on the real estate market, is huge. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Josh is a guru. Josh is the man when it comes to really interpreting what these conversations are about when they're had and the immediate effects on the real estate market. And Josh is also an expert when it comes to helping you make decisions about a purchase and even a sale on your home. So Josh, tell us a little bit about your impression about what went on yesterday and really what really led us up to that based on how the market has been going. It's been nuts.
Well, Scott, I really appreciate you having me on. It's a pleasure. Boy, one thing that comes to mind is when we looked at the Fed and pre-pandemic, we kind of saw this storm cloud heading our way, and they've given us indications that it was going to come. They warned us that they were going to begin to stop taper, and time over time again, they were very concerned that inflation was running much hotter than their target 2% rate. Well, yesterday we have liftoff as far as rates go. We've been at 0% since the pandemic started, and they've been there to support us and support the real estate market. And now they feel like it's time to back out of that scenario. Jeremy Powell's comments were kind of big, in which he really said the labor market was as strong as ever and able to withstand multiple rate increases. So that tells us that, we could and should expect rate increases 4 times in 2022. The Fed meets 7 times. Yesterday was one of them. So, ultimately these rate increases are coming. They're making us aware of them. And the good part is some of it was already timed in. So some of this we're already seeing is the market accepting it, but we've priced that into some of our current market rates.
Yeah, and talking about last year, you've really given some good insight too, just on this roller coaster that we've been on. Somehow we found some stability towards the end of the year in the market in terms of pricing. That pressure was sort of looming, but we just didn't really see it take hold yet. There were some outside factors. There was definitely a lot going on outside of the economy. And so we were definitely letting folks know that, hey, we don't really want to wait around too long. We know this is almost that calm before the storm. Do you feel that we're now about to prepare for the storm, so to speak, because we really have a better idea now where this thing may be taking hold?
And that's a good way to look at it, because I kind of looked at the last year from a rate standpoint and a volatility standpoint of being on cruise control. We could expect week after week after week, very, very similar rates all the way throughout the summer and in through the fall. Starting just after the new year, I think rates have gone up across the board about a 0.5 percentage point. So it's the biggest move we've seen in over a year for sure. And I think it's what we can expect to come is a little bit more volatility as far as rate is concerned. And certainly, I think we've moved into a raising rate environment as opposed to a sideways lowering rate environment, which we've experienced for the last year.
Yeah. So what do you think all this would mean for a seller? We've got a lot of folks we're working with now. We've worked with them for several months, actually, just to keep their head in the game, so to speak, and really maximize the time that they would be putting their house on the market. A lot of folks are still waiting. Traditionally, we would push them into a spring hey, this is the time for a lot of different reasons. But right now, I think with just what we know there, how the market has performed for the last several months or so, we're really feeling like there's a sense of urgency to get that house on the market. How do you feel about that?
Boy, I couldn't agree more, Scott. And from our side, I'd love to see some more inventory out there. We've got a lot of buyers in this market with very little opportunity to purchase. And that's just because there's so much inventory that hasn't hit the market. I told some folks a few weeks ago, I said, in Q1, you could be the only one in the neighborhood on the market versus maybe Q3 or Q4 having competition of 13 or 15 other houses in the marketplace. So from a data standpoint, we know that buyer demand is up. We know that showings are up, but inventory across the nation is down over 10%. So we've got a lot of folks chasing houses with very few houses to get.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, just for some of our viewers here that are out of state, the hot North Texas market has continued to the point where we just had a listing last weekend, for example, and we're typically used to about 5 to 6% over list price in our offers, and this house was around 10%. We had 143 offers, or excuse me, 143 showings and over 40 offers. So that was a huge indicator. Now we add in what just happened yesterday. We really feel like this is that sense of urgency that we can really say, hey, our sellers, this is the time. Let's try to get that house on the market. So now I'll turn it back around to our buyers. Now we have a lot of buyers, especially the folks that are tuning in from out of state. We're working with you guys. We want to get you over here to Texas. We want to get you in this Collin County area. We want to get you to Frisco, Salina, all these different areas. New construction is still booming. How do you guys feel about that? And that's where, Josh, we also look at what does this mean for buyers, especially now buyers that feel like, well, I'm excluded. I've got to do some financing. First of all, how do you think that the interpretation of this could be for a buyer? And then second, how do you feel about someone who still needs to go about traditional finance? Do they still have a chance?
And those are great questions, Scott. First off, I think buyer activity we're seeing in the marketplace right now is that kind of kicking the old butt that we needed to get back out into the marketplace. With rates ticking up a little bit, it kind of sends a little bit more of a pressure out there to find that house once and for all. Some folks that have been on the fence waiting for steep drops that really we don't see any indication of that happening, are now getting off the fence because borrowing costs are starting to rise. Now, I use this term a lot. I said, well, the water is still lukewarm. We are still under 4%, which keeps us at historic low interest rates. But with them starting to tick up, I think it's a great time for buyers to, take a fresh look at some new areas, take a fresh look at some construction where they may previously not have looked prior, and kind of just reinvigorate their searches.
And Josh, you actually feel like there's some pretty good strategic approaches that a buyer could take, correct?
For sure. A few things we do, and Scott, we've worked with a lot of your buyers as well. Competing with cash was something of a challenge in this past year, and a lot of folks that wanted to be under contract and buy in 2020 one did not have that opportunity because there just was so many cash deals to fend with. And one thing we've done at Guaranteed Rate Affinity and my team, we've been underwriting all of our borrowers up front. We're throwing a commitment out there subject to appraisal and title. And we're finding that that's as good as cash in this environment. And those that take advantage of it really put them up in the top tier as far as competitors to these homes. We've been wildly successful with that strategy. Takes a little bit more work up front, but saves time and really gives these buyers some fierce competition against cash. And secondly, for as much new construction is going on in Collin County, all over, we've got a unique 1-year lock and build product that really takes a lot of the anxiety out of being in a raising rate environment and having to worry about what your payment's going to be a year into the future. We've been locking a bunch of these, and they really make a lot of sense for a lot of buyers, especially folks who are moving from out of state and have to rent temporarily while their home is being built. The last thing you want to think about is, boy, I have no idea what my payment's going to be in the future. And that's never a good situation to be in. With our year-long lock program, it really is a perfect hedge against these raising interest rates in this environment we're moving into.
That really sounds assuring, and that makes me excited because that gives me and of course Shannon the ability to reach back out to our buyers and say, guys, this is not doom and gloom at all. So more inventory, which is good for you, and we also have some options here. So guys out there who are tuning in, this is really good. We have heard from the expert. Josh has spoken on this. we know how things are looking. The Fed has met. They put that word out there. It sounds like, Josh, we're looking at a very unique time where almost both markets there, or both sides of the market, the buyers and the sellers, it's this kind of ultimate collision. But right now is the best time, a great time, and then obviously if folks can take advantage of that, this is the time.
I couldn't have said it better, Scott.
Well, Josh, thank you so much. This was lots of fun. Looking forward to doing this again with you.
My pleasure. I'm happy to come on again anytime in the future.
Awesome. So guys, thanks for tuning in this week, and we will see you on the next market report. Thank you, guys.